Hey, cousin. So Living DNA was really awesome and provided me with one of these books that they create for an honest review. And just so you know, I am an affiliate of theirs. So these are my results from Living DNA. When you get one of these books, it gives you a really nice table of contents with a summary of all the information that's inside, including your family ancestry. So you'll notice here it does say plus four others. So when I go to the website, there I can see what those other four are. So there's enough space on the page where that could have been there, but I guess it could get cluttered. And this provides, since I'm a genetic female, my maternal haplogroup. If I were a male, I would also have my paternal haplogroup. So this comes from my mitochondrial DNA, which everyone gets from their mother, their biological mother. And if I were a male, I think it would be like down here, it would show my Y chromosome, which I would have gotten from my biological father. And this is like my matrilineal line, my mother's 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 line, and it gives you some information about that. And this is just a nice image. And they provide really great information about how your how to understand your DNA, how family ancestry works scientifically. And then here they provide the specific breakdown where before I was saying, oh, they didn't fit it all onto the page. Well, here it is on this page with a bit of a map. And on the next page, there's another map. And of course, this is digital, but you can also get a printed book. And then you get this really wonderful in-depth information about the populations and the areas where they're attributing your ancestry to be from. This was the only company that provided a Khan as a specific ethnicity, which was really interesting to me since that's how my family identifies. And my parents being from Ghana and Ivory Coast is just next door. It was pretty cool to see that level of detail. But then there was a lot we didn't know about our ancestry, although we thought we knew a lot, but we're also Mende and Mandinka, and it provides these really wonderful images. And then Benin provides information about that part of the continent. And there are just all these different parts of Africa that my Ghanaian family didn't. If I would have asked, nobody would have shared this as being part of my ancestry. And then provides this mtDNA or mitochondrial DNA report. And it explains a bit about what a haplogroup is, what a subclad is, and where what they call your mother line haplogroup is found. And so you'll see here with different levels of concentration where the L2A haplogroup is found. And then I'm taken on a bit of a journey about the genetic migration of my mother line and who my ancestors from that very direct mother line are or were. And then there's a little bit of history about DNA provided here, where we're taken on a journey of human migration, and they've got some nice maps and timelines and just provide a little bit of an education. And this here I found to be really helpful because I'm a visual learner. And so they help us to understand three types of DNA and three different ways you can explore your genetic inheritance, your ancestry. And so your Y chromosome comes from your biological father. So on the far left, there's an image depicting that. And in the middle, they depict your autosomal DNA, which you get from both of your parents and all of your ancestors. And on the far right, there's the mitochondrial DNA, which we inherit from our female lineage. And so there are these really wonderful icons to represent all of that. And then they provide a little bit of an explanation or an exploration of discovering how DNA can assist us in tracing our ancestry. And they provide some beautiful images and also just engage in debate, like sharing some debate about where humans came from, different publications that are out there, establishing our genetic ancestors, determining just how old our ancestry is. A lot of times we wonder, like, how far are these DNA companies telling us about ourselves? How far back does it go? And then they even talk about different theories of migration. And there are some images. And then what we can clearly identify is that there were many lines before modern human beings. However, they all died out. And then they go into some more explanation about that and have some beautiful images to go along. And they provide some information and an exploration around evolution and the origin of our species. And then a lot of information about genetic diversity coming out of Africa. And so you see all these different images to help us understand or try to understand how diverse we are as human beings who originated out of Africa, or what some people may say, well, wasn't it Pangea all the way back then? And then also looking at over time the changes in our genes. And so they show us like all these different ways to visualize that. And then I think this is really cool that they talk about race in the human body and just the different regions of the world and how connected we all are and how similar we all are and how much DNA we all share. And they have these beautiful photos to kind of illustrate that, and a bit of, history about discovering DNA and the structure of DNA. And then they provide us with references, which, some people might be super academic or like to know where the information they're looking at is coming from. So this is, just under 10 minutes running you through my Living DNA book. And I'm really grateful they shared this with me. And you can imagine that it would be really beautiful printed out as well. So that's a little quick run through of the story of Adjua's ancestry as never told before by Living DNA. And that's just more than a minute from my Black genealogist. You never know. We could be cousins.